Welcome everyone. We're back again for the next round of the update. Well, I'm back anyway. Jason is off chasing the electrons of our industrial control systems, making sure they don't escape the box and do funky things. Or making sure some alien ones don't come in and turn up the heat, so to speak. With that, I suppose we better get into it. Today's session is going to be about y'all lined up and ready to participate?
Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm okay. How are the electrons?
Did you know there's a cyber war going on?
Really?
Yep, total craziness.
Sounds like something that could use an information video.
Enough on that. How's the FSRM world?
Not bad. The project approval process still kind of stinks, but it's a necessary evil. We just need to find incremental ways to make it better.
Great, let's do it.
Today we're going to talk about the new programming approval portal. I'm glad you're here to help.
Wouldn't miss it.
For those of you following along with previous versions of the update, our last video talked about the timeline for submitting your FY18 and FY19 project approval requests.
For those of you who haven't been following along, you have about 18 minutes of binge watching to do to catch up with the rest of the CE Society.
Aaron is going to bring up a slide we showed last time.
When we showed this slide previously, we mentioned that there are two types of approval necessary for each project. Funding approval is briefly outlined on the top of the slide, and programming approval is outlined on the bottom of the slide.
For those participating in the centralized funding program, the AFCamp is a good and continuously evolving process for seeking funding approval.
On the other hand, the current process for seeking and tracking programming approval is done through emails, spreadsheets, and a bit of mystery and some magic.
Today, we're going to introduce a SharePoint tool that's going to help with securing programming approval, the process on the bottom half of the slide. Using the approval site is now mandatory for all FSRM packages requiring Headquarters Air Force and AFIMSC approval.
As of today, the approval portal is separate from the AFCamp SharePoint site. But because project data and many documents are similar for both processes, our goal in future spirals is to have them linked or merged to provide programmers a single go-to site for seeking funding and programming approval. We're not there yet, but even as separate sites, the tools are helpful.
In today's session, once we're done with this introductory banter, we're going to cut away to a brief tutorial on using the new project approval portal.
Before we do that, it's probably a good idea to set the stage by talking through a brief outline of the approval request process.
You're right, Jason. Let's get started with a common understanding of what the wickets are. Aaron, can you bring up the process outline?
The lighter colored box on the left shows a stage called preliminary review.
This used to be done by the MAGCOM staff.
Under this new structure, this step is primarily between AFIMSC, IZB, and the bases. However, with leadership emphasis on the right solution at the right time, plus proper programming, AFIMSC is involving AFCEC experts.
And to save time and final coordination, AFIMSC has also asked air staff to participate during this stage. In effect, AFCEC and Headquarters Air Force are collateral reviewers during the preliminary review stage.
When the preliminary review is done and the base finalizes all of the necessary programming documents, they submit them for the stage we're calling final coordination, the darker colored box on the right.
AFIMSC and AFCEC will do quick reviews to make sure all of the agreed changes are correct, and then will forward the package to us for approval.
By the way, this portal will also be used for projects to be approved at the AFIMSC level. Those projects would then stop at the AFIMSC during their final coordination stage.
The darker shaded box on the right shows the final wickets here in the Pentagon during final coordination. Thanks, Aaron. As you'll see in the tutorial in a minute, a text version of the chart you just saw will be on the project approval site with the current status highlighted, giving you transparency to where your project is in the process.
That was 2 slides in a row from Aaron.
Well, in the last video we gave props to Blake and Drew and Emily and Matt, but we didn't mention Aaron. So today is all Aaron.
It obviously takes a lot of smart people and creative people behind the scenes to make us look semi-professional.
I know, right? Kind of sounds like some of my old OPRs.
The portal site will help base programmers and higher headquarters reviewers navigate this approval process together. It's a central repository for submitting, tracking, and storing approval request packages.
The site will enable exchange and visibility of approval documents and comments while at the same time providing transparency of where packages are in the process. It'll also provide an archive of approval request activity.
Shall we unveil it?
I'm ready. Welcome to this Programming Approval Portal introduction. I'd like to emphasize that this is an introduction to what the site's about. It's not a tutorial. You'll be able to get much more detail about processes and definitions from the user manual, which is in the toolkit, and simply just from using the site. There are three main things most users will want to do on the site. 1, upload and update projects. 2, exchange comments with reviewers. And 3, check the status of projects as they move through the process. With that, let's go to the desktop. I'd recommend using Internet Explorer for maximum functionality. When you open the site, you'll see the landing page shown here with the blue banner across the page. The first thing you'll want to do is register to use the site by clicking on the Request Access button. With just a few details to set up your profile and a quick concurrence from our team, you'll be off and running. Next, the two buttons most users will be interested in are the Add Project button and the Toolkit button. I'll mention the toolkit at the end, so let's get this familiarization started by adding a new project. Many projects are already on the site, so before you add a project, you want to check to see if it exists first. You can do that through checking status on the landing page, which we'll talk about later. There are 2 steps to adding a project. First, entering the project data, and then followed by uploading supporting documents. Start by clicking the Add Project button on the upper left side of the page. When you get the blank form, start filling in as much information as you have. For the base, I'll go with one of my assignments. Type in L, and then look down the list to select Lodges field. And the MAGCOM is now USAFE. It wasn't always that way, right, ACC? We'll give this a good title, Renovate Top of the Rock Club. Lodges field buildings have a T in front of them because they're technically temporary. I really should ask Colonel Kevin Parker here on the staff to do this for me because he's one of the sharp programmers who kept me out of trouble in my days as an engineering flight commander at Lodges. And now the project number. And then let's make this one for Mr. Carell's approval and congressional notification. Notice that this field is in thousands of dollars and the dollar sign is not needed. Of course, we'll be looking for centralized money for this high priority project, and it's a design bid build project. We know that AFCAC does great FSRM execution, so we've asked them to execute this project for us. I assume they do execution at Lodges. We have no bids or time on target yet, so we'll leave these fields blank. This is a vertical facility, so I'll select Facilities as the asset management program. Moving down, this project is greater than $7.5 million, so we select SAF IEE approval for the approval action. We're leaving the approval status as Base Drafting Approval Request because I'm not ready to forward it to AFIMSC yet. Once I have all of the information in and it's ready for review, I'll change this to Preliminary Review. The approval type is Repair greater than $7.5 million. That may seem redundant with approval action required, but there are different combinations of those fields. For example, SAF IEE approval is also needed for lab revitalization projects over the O&M threshold. Because I'm not ready to submit yet, I'll put the current owner as the base. When I'm ready for review, I'll change this to IMSC and they'll get a notification. The last step here is to assign the base action officer. This is who will receive notifications when the status and ownership changes. Your installation can decide how many people to add here. It needs to be at least 1, but you may want to add others for when that person is out of the office or just for situational awareness. The currently blank field of AOs to choose from will quickly get populated as users register to the site. The rest of the fields are for higher level reviewers to update, so I'll scroll to the bottom and hit Save. That's it. You have a project in the system. Now we need to add supporting documents. We'll talk about the filtering on the landing page later, but for now I'll use the base field to search for the project and click the project number, which is hyperlinked to the project data. There are 3 tabs for each project. It typically opens on the Status tab, which is a quick look to show you where the project is in the process. As the project proceeds through the process, the appropriate owner will be highlighted. Next is the Project Data tab, where you'd find the data we already input, as well as more data fields on action officers and status. The final tab is the Documents tab, where we'll go to next. Below the blue buttons are several column headings, which is where we're going to add the documents. I already have a folder with my supporting documents ready to go. I'll select my 3 supporting document files and drag them to the area with the column headings. The site is uploading the documents, and eventually I'll get this green bar that says Upload Completed with the number of files uploaded. However, we're not quite done yet. I need to go up to the blue buttons and click the one labeled Finalize Attachment. This step attaches all of the project's metadata to each file, the data you provided on the project data page. It'll tell you that the data is being updated, and then you'll get this dialog box telling you the documents have been updated. Now that we've added a project, let's check on the status of another project. We'll have to go to the landing page for that. In the middle of the home page, you can see a table with key project details and 4 tabs: Active Projects, Approved Projects, Projects No Longer Required, and All Projects. The home page opens to the Active Projects tab and displays the title Current Projects. This tab will show a list of all projects in some state of approval request. The other tabs are fairly self-explanatory. Just above the 4 tabs and right below the buttons, you'll see a statement that starts with Search for your project with the dynamic filters tables below. You can use the field that is best for your situation or for the information you have. For example, a MAGCOM or DET might want to filter on all projects in a particular MAGCOM. If I was at my first assignment, I might want to see all of the projects at Wright-Patterson, so I'd search for Wright-Pat in the base column. By the way, you can also sort with these fields by clicking on the column heading. Let's say I only remember part of a title. For example, I remember we just reviewed a project that had something about Room 138 in the title. Here's the 25th Air Force project at JBSA. Now look over to the 5th column and you see that the project number is in light blue, which indicates it's hyperlinked. Click the link and it'll take us to more details about the project. You can see the project title at the top with 3 tabs underneath labeled Status, Project Data, and Documents, as we mentioned previously. Let's go to the 2nd tab, Project Data. In bold letters on the left side, you can see Project Information, which is the information the users provide. Of course, any of this content on this page can be updated. If I scroll down, the next major heading is Approval Coordination Information, which sets the stage for project reviews, including the action officers at various levels. Scrolling down a bit further brings up Preliminary Review and its details. In this stage, the AFCEC reviewers are looking at the project's technical solution and cost estimate. Is this the right solution at the right time for the right cost? AFCEC has many initiatives in place that will move this activity much earlier in the project's life cycle and out of the approval process. But until these initiatives are more mature, we have to conduct these reviews at this stage. AFIMSC also usually asks HAF to review in parallel with AFCEC in this phase. We call the HAF and AFCEC participation at this stage collateral review. And scrolling beneath preliminary review are the final coordination steps. This stage starts when everyone agrees that the programming is tight and all the docs are signed. There's another collateral review step for AFCEC CP and AFCEC CO to verify the updated project information is in sync with the way forward. These fields are blank for this project because it was through these steps before we had the site up and running. Below that are fields for all the wickets required for review here in the Pentagon, which our team will fill in as each is complete. Most of these blocks are for completion dates of the coordination stages. Our branch, our division, the A4C front office, the required outside office reviews, general counsel, and 2 legislative liaison offices. The final box on the page is the comment box. Any user can enter a comment, and when the project update is saved, the comment will be added to the project log. Also, when a notification is going to be sent to someone because of a status or owner change, a dialog box will pop up and the person who saved the most recent change can type in a message to the notification receiver. The notification and the note will be logged chronologically with the comments. At the bottom of the page are buttons where the user can either save or cancel changes that were made to the project data. One last thing on the site. Above the Programming Approval Portal banner in the center of the page is a field labeled CE Portal Requests. If you have a suggestion, concern, or even a compliment, click on this menu and you can provide feedback. As a heads up, we have a list of improvements our portal team is continuing to work, and they'll be added to the site as they're completed. For example, you'll quickly see that the toolkit hasn't been fully developed yet. We're brainstorming on what to include and how to organize it, so please take a look and give us your suggestions. We'll also add a report creation function later. Get registered on the site and start putting it to use. Thanks, and now back to the studio desk with the two jokers you saw in the intro.
Welcome back. Mike's brief tutorial should give you enough information to get a good start on using the site.
As we mentioned previously, there are more spirals to follow. We already have a list of additional features to add and tweaks to make. Plus, I'm sure when you all start digging into it, you'll provide us additional constructive suggestions.
After a couple of months of beta testing, the approval portal is far enough along to be a useful tool. We wanted to get it out to you sooner rather than later.
If you haven't already registered, please go to the link provided in the announcement emails and sign up.
Finally, get those packages in. You can submit them anytime, but remember, FY18 requests are due no later than February 1st, and FY19 packages are due no later than March 15th.
We already have several packages queued up for review, which is great. It's much better than the very slow trickle we've seen in previous years. Good job.
Before we sign off, we'd like to put in a plug for two very worthwhile AFIT classes, WMGT 423 Project Programming and WMSS 523 Contemporary Issues in Project Programming.
Project programming policy is continually being updated, so we'd recommend these classes for both new folks and graybeard programmers. WMGT 423 is half days for 2 weeks, and WMSS 523 is a 5-hour refresher class you can complete on your own time at your desk. Please take advantage of these great opportunities.
With that, thanks for tuning in today.
Keep doing good things, folk.
Whoa, wait. No movie or TV references today?
Surely, you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
It could be carried by an African swallow.
Oh yeah, an African swallow maybe, but not a European swallow.
Tower, this is Ghost Rider requesting a flyby.
Negative, Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
Okay, then there's I'm not leaving my wingman.
Touché, Tom Cruise.
We'll try to finish our discussion here. You all check out the project approval.
Out here.
Excuse me, I believe you have my stapler.
Help me, help you.
Yippee-ki-yay.